Let me tell you something. Evil never wins.
Pedro, what the hell do you want calling my phone right now? What the hell?
Things got a lot more stupider on the most recent episode of the Family Chantel. Hey guys, it's Stephanie, and I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about the most recent episode of the hit TLC show. So we started off with Chantel, who's getting used to going back from living in her own house with Pedro to now living with her mom, her dad, and her sister. And while her fam is super happy to have her back with them, her mom, Karen, isn't afraid to speak her mind. And she's really popping off when it comes to talking about Chantel and her past with Pedro.
I still remember the first time that you moved out with him, with a lowercase h. She got the apartment herself. She got his immigration papers herself. She bought his plane ticket herself. She gave him everything, everything. But that's just what he wanted. Chantel should have listened to my warnings way back then because Mama knows best.
Hindsight is 2020.
In the first episode of the season, we saw Chantel meeting with a realtor and also meeting up with Pedro for the first time in months after their split. Now, her family was asking how she felt about having to see Pedro face to face, and she was not happy about seeing her ex, which, you know, relatable.
One thing that he said towards the beginning, I think the realtor asked why we were selling the house, and we both mentioned divorce, and he said, thank God.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, it just goes to show that he has not changed at all.
Chantel ended up having a yard sale to get rid of all of the old stuff in her house. She was really cleaning house, literally. In the divorce agreement, she was able to keep everything in the house. So you know that means she's going to be selling some of Pedro's old stuff that he left behind.
All he wanted was his stupid tools, even though he doesn't have a yard. But, or who knows, maybe he wants to go cut some other lady's grass.
Among Pedro's treasured items that were left in the house was his beloved gaming chair. And you know the family Chantel was more than happy to sell it for only $1. Petty Queens unite.
Now he's left his stupid ass chair. Oh well, it's going to the highest bidder.
So leaving stuff behind, and we do mean behind.
A nice man came over and inquired about that chair. So I made him a deal he could not refuse. I told him he could have that chair for $1. And he said, it's a deal.
Pedro eventually showed up at the house to collect his tools, and he noticed that one major thing was missing.
Chantel's very vengeful.
This is a warning to me because in the fact that we're going to sell the house and that she sold that sheriff to be petty, this process to sell the house is going to be harder than I thought.
On top of not having his chair, he's also upset about the whole situation around selling their house. He thinks he could get a better deal on selling the house if he sold it himself, but Chantel isn't trusting of him when it comes to selling the house and getting them the profit. So he decided to call her up and confront her about it. He also couldn't help himself and he brought up the gaming chair, and he wasn't happy to hear that she sold it.
The chair's gone.
I love that chair.
You love that chair more than you ever could have loved me, that's for sure.
That's you know. I think so. I love the chair and you equally. Yeah.
Well, the chair's gone.
Okay. My love is gone too.
We also got to check in with Pedro's family in the Dominican Republic. His mom, Lydia, is currently learning how to speak English because she wants an American partner. Hey, maybe things will work out better for her than it did for Pedro and Chantel. Only time will tell.
Decidí aprender inglés porque es un idioma universal, pero aparte de eso, porque dos amigas me han recomendado que me busque una pareja norteamericana porque ellos son buenos esposos.
Si no hay más preguntas, chicos, eso es todo por hoy. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Gracias, profe. Tengo la meta de casarme con un americano, entonces no voy a parar hasta no lograrlo.
Well, it turns out that she already has a partner in mind. She's wanting to start things back up with Scott, who left her because of the language barrier that they had. And while she's like wanting to get back together with him, she's not sure if she's ready to open up her heart fully to him because of how things ended last time.
No sé, quizás no estoy como preparada para estar. Y que vámonos para la cama, y que vámonos para la cama de una vez, ¿no?
¿Tú quieres estar con él?
Es que te dije, él se ve bien.
Ajá.
Desde que me separé del papá de mis hijos, no he vuelto a tener relaciones con otra persona. Pero siempre me encontré a Scott un hombre muy atractivo, su musculote, su sonrisa.
Mira qué lindo te dejé el
Ay,
pelo.
sí.
Ah.
Hermoso,
Como te gusta, tiene mucho volumen.
Pero necesito tener las antenas puestas, no confiar demasiado en Scott.
Pedro's mom said some really wild things this episode. Later on, she was hanging out with Pedro and his sister when the topic of Pedro's love life came up and the fact that Chantel was the first girl that he was ever with. She basically said that he needs to spread the love. Honestly, if my mom said this, I think I would faint.
Su primera relación sexual fue Chantel. Ella se comió un bizcocho nuevo, nuevecito, sin estrenar.
Oh my God.
Entonces, a raíz de esto, yo entiendo que Pedro debe de ya tener como más experiencia, conocer chicas y que se bese con mucha.
We all know that Pedro's family weren't the biggest fans of the Family Chantel, and it appears that they feel the same way about Scott.
I don't want to see him again in my life. I think Scott is a trash, and the only thing my mom will get will be break a heart again.
While Pedro's mom is preparing to find love, Chantel's mom is basically preparing for war. We caught up with Chantel as she was preparing to change her last name and embrace a new chapter in her life. And her mom, Karen, was, she was preparing for the battlefield. She was practicing a form of self-defense because she thinks that her family is, quote, under attack.
I heard Pedro, he said, this means war. And I said, fool, do you know who you talking about? Fool, you ain't seen no war. I don't want people to think I'm violent. But as a mother, I have to protect my baby.
By any means necessary.
Oh, by any means necessary. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Karen really can't be stopped. She and her husband decided to go and meet up with a private investigator in the hopes that he could dig up some dirt on Pedro and bring Chantel a little bit of closure after her messy divorce.
Pedro, he used our daughter for 7 long years. He got money, a green card, access to the entire American economy, but the buck stops here. Nobody messes with our daughter anymore.